It's Wednesday, September 16th. Welcome aboard to this edition of Barnstable Today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Andrew Gobeil. Thank you very much for joining us.
We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website, www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
One down, four to go. Barnstable Town Clerk Linda Hutchinrider, along with her staff and various volunteers, have a very busy fall and early winter season ahead of them. We have 5 elections scheduled. Actually 4 now, because we had that first one on Tuesday. Here's what was on the ballot. There were 2 different races. First, townwide, there were 5 candidates vying for 4 spots on the school committee general election ballot. Also, in Precinct 12, there were 3 candidates vying for 2 spots. Pretty interesting goings-on as in a relatively low turnout. Only about 7 to 8% of the electorate turned out to vote on Tuesday. Now, Linda Hutchinrider is getting ready for the next vote coming up in October. Talk with her a little bit about what happened on Tuesday and what the tie in Tuesday's election means for the general election in November.
We're now joined with Linda Hutchinrider, Town Clerk. Last we spoke to you, preparations were underway for our first election of the fall. Everything went okay?
Yes, it did. 1 down, 4 to go.
We'd like to know how the results came in.
Well, the results came in really fast last night because there were only 2 races in the whole town, 1 in only 1 precinct. But the thing that was interesting to watch was how the results kept changing with each precinct, because one person would be ahead and then they would go down, and ultimately what happened was it was such a close race that the 2 people who were at the bottom of the pile actually ended up tied. And so everybody kind of stopped for a moment in the office and said, oh my gosh, it's a tie. So I said, yeah, but wait a minute, I think there is something in the charter. And I double-checked the charter, and sure enough, everybody will be again on the ballot in November. Because when there is a tie vote, you still do not have a runoff, you don't have an elimination. All 5 of those people, even though it's over the amount that is supposed to be on the ballot, all 5 will be on November 3rd.
That's kind of a curious thing that happened. Have you ever run into something like that before, where there's been a tie where you're trying to pare down numbers?
No, not to my knowledge. There could have been, but not in recent years anyway.
And there was also one other race that was going on that members of Precinct 12 were voting on. How did that turn out? That went right down the line. We had actually a first, second, third place winner, and the person who was in third, Donald Lind, is no longer going to be on the ballot. It will be John Norman, who came in first, and Oliver Cipollini Jr. Now, as preparations are getting ready for the next election coming up, what's going on?
We have so much going on that I literally have the calendar marked for what we're doing every day, because right now we're tearing down the bags, we're putting in all of the new materials, because October 13th is our next election. That will be on the Stewart's Creek appropriation, so we hope everybody comes out for that. We have to go through the same process whether we have 1 person vote or 20, so we need everybody out there voting.
What kind of numbers did you see turn out to vote yesterday?
It was about 7%, and it was around 2,200 people came out to vote. So we'd really like to have more. We had one woman in Precinct 7 who was working hard, and she knit so many things that she actually broke a needle. So we don't want her knitting the next time. We want her registering people. So we'll get out and vote.
All right, great. Thanks, Linda.
Once again, Kevin Friel with Town Clerk Linda Hutchinrider, getting ready, of course, for the next election in October. Also Tuesday night, the Airport Commission met to talk about a number of events going on. We're going to head on out there and cover one of those very interesting events. Here's a little bit of the sound from the Airport Commission meeting held on Tuesday.
It is the original roof that's been on there, plus some tar and stuff to plug some of the holes. But there's a significant leaking issue. And regardless of what happens relative to a solar project up there, the roof needs to be replaced. And the building itself is about as ungreen as you can get. It needs insulation, it needs new fenestration, it needs a lot of TLC, it needs a new heating system to really get it up to modern standards as far as any kind of green consciousness is involved. We think by doing that, without any generation, we can reduce the consumption in that building about 25%. And so that is an improvement that we would like to see happen in the building. So essentially what you're seeing, again, I can't stand it when the attention focuses off of my beautiful face of the wall. I don't really like PowerPoint stuff in a meeting like this, but essentially what our presentation is to do about a little bit over $2.6 million of improvements on that building, which includes about $900,000 to $1 million of improvements to make it an energy efficient business or building, and then another roughly $1.7 million or so of a solar installation, a solar project, and that's the presentation. And what we're sort of working with the commission for, and Bud's been great, we've had a few meetings as that's Frank, is to figure out how, consistent with the first lease, we can make these improvements and have the investment go into that building in lieu of or in consideration of lease payments going forward. In any case, it's kind of important, and we've talked about this a little bit, that the building, regardless of what happens with the current tenant there, that being us, that building needs some significant work going forward. And that's a large part of the reason why we're here, is to discuss that.
The Wings of Freedom will be here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I know there's some media interest in getting pictures of them when they're coming in, and we're having a short ceremony at 4 o'clock. I've invited Commissioner Griffin to say a few words. He apparently has flown in the B-17 previously and had some actual pilot time in it. I've asked the town manager or the assistant town manager to say a few words. I've asked Sid Chase, our veterans agent, to say a few words. And I also asked the president of the council, or Hank Farnham, to say a few words. But I want to keep this about 10-15 minutes max. And we're there really to honor a lot of the World War II vets who've been invited and asked to come. I know the local DFW post will be in attendance, and their commander will be here. A couple of former World War II pilots, one of whom actually flew the P-51 in combat, and another vet whose brother was killed on a B-17 or B-24 over Germany. I'm not sure which plane it was. So there's a lot of interest, and we've certainly been doing our best to broadcast this information. It's been showing up in all the papers, and we've done radio interviews and everything to get this going. So we're hoping for a good turnout. And we have hammered out the agreement on the price that we were charging for all of our services, which seems to be acceptable to them. And that's going to go from Wednesday at 2 till Friday around noon. And there'll be morning flights at 8 o'clock and evening flights around 5 o'clock for those who wish to pay to go out on a flight. Next item was just a reminder, the Cape Cod Commission DRI hearing on our transportation request for modification will be at 3 p.m. The 17th. And the site plan review hearing will be at 9 o'clock on the 24th in the Town Hall hearing room. And the last thing I wanted to mention was that we're actually doing rehab and painting of the EMAS system. We're doing it ourselves.
Once again, the Airport Commission meeting on Tuesday night.
Now let's take a look at the meeting schedule for the remainder of the week.
The Conservation Commission has a hearing at 6:30 in the Town Hall hearing room.
And on Wednesday, the Zoning Board of Appeals is going to hold a hearing at 7 o'clock in the hearing room.
Also on Wednesday, the Highness Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission has a meeting at 7 o'clock in the Selectmen's Conference Room.
The Shellfish Committee meeting is going to take place at 7:30 at the MEA Conference Room on Finney's Lane.
Then wrapping out the week, on Thursday, September 17th, the Town Council hosts a meeting at 7 o'clock in the Town Hall hearing room.
Again, for a list of all of those meetings, just head to our website. You can see it right here, town.barnstable.ma.us. For Kevin Friel, I'm Andrew Gobiel. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Barnstable Today.